today's Lunch and Learn with me, Julie Cameron, a business growth specialist with Action Coach Solihull. Welcome to everybody who is joining us on Facebook and LinkedIn today, and also to those that are joining us live. So welcome to you all. Please feel free to drop any questions that you may have in any of the comments boxes below, and I will do my utmost to answer them today on this glorious Monday morning, as you can see from the sunshine. So what are we looking at today? Well, one of the key things that every business owner worries about is lead generation. Am I right? You know, we often worry about where our next customer is coming from. So today we're looking at marketing and lead generation in particular. And in particular, we're looking at online marketing, so social media and websites. So today I'm going to try to be general on this topic. And the reason that I'm going to become a generalist, I suppose, in that respect, is that if I get too specific, the algorithms on the platforms will probably going to change next month. So any specifics that I say may become outdated. So I guess the first thing to say when looking at social media and digital marketing in particular is that you have to keep up with the latest on the algorithm shifts on all of the platforms. So firstly, let's look at your main website. So your main website is basically your billboard to the outside world. This is where the outside world comes to find out who you are, what you do, what you sell, and how much it is. They, as in the customer, need all the information to make that decision. Some people, however, need one page to make a decision, whereas other people will need to read all of the pages on your website. You know, think about it as reading a book. Some people need to read that last page first in order to know that it's a happy ending, or some people would never do that and they need to read the entire book to know what's going on. It's the same with your website. You know, so what we can see that different people need different levels of information in order to make a decision. But first and foremost, I want to remind you that your website is about two things. Okay, firstly, it sells to people, and secondly, it helps people find you. You know, and in my opinion, the most important priority is that your website sells. The selling on a website, or it's selling someone or your product or service is more important than finding you. You know, yes, it's vital that they're able to find you, but if people find you, then that's brilliant. But then if the website actually doesn't sell, then it makes no difference that you've got brilliant SEO and that people can find you in organic searches. But if they don't buy from you from that website, then it's a complete waste of time. So the priority, in my opinion, is that your website has the ability to sell. And the second priority is that people can find you based upon it. Now, there's no reason that they're mutually exclusive. You know, a lot of the time they do mix, that the things that will sell are also great things that help people find you and vice versa. So I'm going to take you through today some of the top strategies on websites, and then we'll look at social media and my top set strategies on social media. So what are the top things on your website? So now I want you to think about your website. So let's think about the front page. Your front page is your headline. Your front page is where you should be investing 50, 60, 70% of your time on a website. Okay. What happens on your front page is the most important thing in your website. Now, it's where people first find you. That page needs to be one that is ideally, you know, fairly crisp, fairly clean. People need to easily see what they, when they hit that page, where they need to go. You don't want to give them, you know, 4 million options. You don't want it to be too cluttered. You actually want them to get into the website and go for what they're looking for. You know, the number one biggest mistakes on websites is that it's hard to navigate or it's hard to find things. You have to remember that people don't have a lot of patience, you know, so they'll come off your website really quickly if they can't find what they're looking for. We've all guilty of that. How many of us have Googled something, gone onto a website, can't find it, you've gone back and you're looking for something else. So, you know, arguably you could argue, I suppose, that the most used button on the internet is the go back button. You know, go back and look again, go back and look again, go back and look again. I know I use it quite regularly. So what you want from your website is to have that information available easily, freely, so that people are able to get around it. So real clear that your front page of yours needs to be so strong, so invest time in it. Use Google Analytics to be able to evaluate your website, understand what on your front page is working, what buttons are getting clicked, what buttons are not. It will show why people are coming to your website. For example, people come to us at Action Coach to either find a business coach, to get online help now. So to get online help now. So in other words, they're to read articles or watch videos, etc. Or they want to become an action coach. So 3 things. Do you know what the reasons are that people go to your website? Why are they coming to your website? Do you know? And if you don't know, why not? Have a look. Use Google Analytics. I'm also a firm believer in that the front page of your website should also be in long form. In other words, I want the front page to be able for you to be able to scroll on it. So if someone only hits that one page, then they can find the vast majority of the information that they need. There are people like me out there that don't want to click over 400 pages. They want to hit one page, want to be able to read what we need and find what we need on that front page. So I really like a long front page. I also want one that goes to the fold, and people kind of look at me and go, what do you mean a page on the internet doesn't fold? But it does. In a newspaper, there's often that fold. So you need to turn the page over to carry on reading, and I want that on my website. I want that imaginary fold. So it makes like, when you bring your website up, it makes it look like they need to continue scrolling. They need to continue scrolling down so that they can get the full benefit of that front page. Number 2, navigation. Make it simple to navigate your website. It doesn't really matter what order you put the navigation in, but personally, I don't like 40 navigation bars across the top. The majority of websites have 5, 6, 7 at most, but the thing to do is to make it easy and simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Use simple language. Make it clear what everything is. Often what we see is that people try and break it down to 1 or 2 words. But actually, if you were to use more words, it would make it clearer. So therefore, people wouldn't get frustrated with your website and wouldn't come off the website. So it's so when you're looking at your navigation, will longer headlines work better than shorter ones? Ask yourself the question. If you were visiting your website, would you know what they mean? Next, give me all the information and give me all the prices on your website. Don't try to hide them and make me call you to find them out. Think about it, because I'm not going to call. Give the person the information they need to be able to make a sale or to be able to buy right there and then. Allow them to purchase on your website, but also give them the information that if they want to give you a call, then they can. But give them all the information they need so they can actually make a purchase decision. This way they don't even need to call a salesperson. I just need a way to make an order. So make sure that you have a call to action point on each page. So in other words, it may be saving you, money in sales, people and sales, because you're actually making sales organically on your website. And this leads me really lovely on to making sure that you have an offer on each page, a call to action on each page. You can have multiple as well. Ultimately, you want to make an offer on each page and you want people to respond to them. I like them to have the ability to have different levels of response on each page. And, by that, what I mean is, I like people to be able to subscribe to a newsletter, which in a way is a low response. But then equally, I like a high response where, they're asking to fill in contact details. So ultimately, each page needs some form of response device. If it's a form, keep it simple. Don't make your forms like your salespeople. And I think that it always makes me smile. In other words, your salespeople always want to know thousands of things about that person. But on your website, keep the form simple. Name, phone number, and email address. Okay, simple. Don't try and make it into a whole bunch of things. You can get those details later. Keep it simple. Otherwise, you'll undo the hard work you've done initially by getting them to fill out the form in the first place. How many of us been on websites and they're asking for date of birth, house, your mother's name, your pet's name, your inside leg measurement, all of these things, and you've given up halfway through. So think about that, and then think about how you're going to incorporate that into your forms. Keep it simple: name, telephone number, and email address, contact details. And then another strategy is to make your contact page easy. I personally, again, it's maybe a personal thing, but I hate contact pages where you've got to fill out your name, your address, and phone number so that somebody can call me. What I want is a contact page that has a list of everyone in your company. Their email address should be right next to them. So if I click on it, I can email them straight away and email them directly. Or if I click on that person, it should have their phone number, preferably their mobile phone number, so I can click on that from my phone and call that person. Real simple. And I'll tell you, this morning I've tried to contact a lady that I need to have a conversation with, and she knows that. And I've gone onto a website directory, and when I got to her picture, I clicked on it and nothing happened. Now think about it, that if I was wanting to contact that person, how frustrating is it that then I need to search for her, need to go onto a different platform, when actually her details should be there and then. Now I don't know whether I've actually got the right details for her because it wasn't working. Now, if that was a sales scenario, would I've actually gone to her? No. And this leads me on to that next one. Test your buttons. And by this I mean test the buttons on your website are working. If you put a button there, make sure it works. Also, make sure that the buttons that you have on your website are being used. If they aren't, then get rid of them, and put up a button that is going to be used. Okay, have things on there that's purpose, not things just for the sake of it. Next is to measure. You've got to do measurement, and Google Analytics is brilliant. There are so many ways to do your analytics on your website, but you've got to actually analyze what's working on your website and what's not. It's got to be done on a regular basis. Once a week is great, but looking at it once a year is crazy. It's mental, because you're not understanding what's working on your website and what's not working on your website. You need to be looking at it every week in order to see what's working and what's not. Next, make sure you've got video and pictures on your website. Videos keep people on your site. Pictures engage people. Testimonials. Now, these could be written or audio or video testimonials. They should be on your website, so make sure that they're there. These testimonials will not only educate you, but they will also there so that the customer or potential customer can start to know, like, and trust you. Now, we all know that in sales we need to know, like, and trust, but it's got to be on your website. So keep that information simple. Don't overcomplex it. Now, how many of you out there has got that frequently asked question section on your website? These are the questions that people frequently have when they're purchasing your goods or services. You should know these questions, and you should have the right answers for them. So my challenge to you is, why not put videos for each of those answers? Have a section that says 20 questions asked by people who are buying our products or something as they've never done it before because they want to learn more about it. So answer those questions, but even answer them in your headline and answer them in your articles, answer them in your other pictures and videos as well before they get to that frequently asked question page. In a way, that should be the one page that's not visited that much, because you should be answering your frequently asked questions within your website before then. Have specific landing pages for different target audiences with different products. So if you're marketing a particular product, or you're having people find a particular product, you can build separate landing pages within the site. Don't just think every single person is going to land on that front page. And again, that's why we have offers on every single page. Oftentimes if you've written an article or blog, it might be found by itself rather than your website. So what we've got to make sure is that every page is like a landing page, but have specific ones for different target audiences in different groups that you're looking for. Next is make sure it's mobile friendly and make sure it's secure. It's really important these days, day and age, to make sure that your site is secure, and it helps with your Google rankings. And I've said this before, but make sure that your layout is simple. Don't overcomplicate the layout even. Don't make it too hard for me to follow what's going on. I want a simple layout, not complex. Next, and we'll come on to social media in a minute, but keep it fairly easy for people to follow you on social media. I personally don't like the social media buttons at the top. Personally, I like them down towards the bottom. So yes, they're still on every page, and yes, they're still next to each article, but I don't like them at the top where they take away my interest from the other stuff I was trying to keep them on the website to look at. If that makes sense. So what you don't want is a person to land on your page. Oh, look, there's Facebook, there's a LinkedIn, whatever. Or I'll click on that, and then all of a sudden they're going off your website. What you want them to do is actually, if you move them at the bottom, they'll start to read what's on your website. So then they'll scroll down, etc., and then they'll come to them at the bottom. But they will have been on your page to find out what it is that they were looking for in the first place. You don't want to draw them away. I suppose what I'm saying is you don't want to draw them away from your main site. Next is to keep it up to date. Always keep up to date your blog articles, your address, things that are happening. They should always be maintained on your website. What impression does it give people if the events on your website are out of date? Well, basically that they don't care, that they're not bothered. And I know it's tough to keep on top of things, and I know it costs money, but it makes you money as well. It's one of the reasons why sometimes making sure your website is easy to update so is key, really. There's a lot of fancy websites out there, and you think if you need to update just one small thing, then how many steps do you need to go through to get one word changed? How many steps do you need to go to put a new article on there? How many steps you need to go through to put a blog on there or update an event? So maybe one of the things when you're creating your website is to think, how easy is it to update it? And make it easy, because you need to be updating it constantly. Another great thing is to make sure that things are easy to find on your website. Make it easy for me to find stuff. Don't make me go through 7 clicks to get to something, 2-3 clicks to buy. I don't want to have to click 7 things to buy anything, really. Think of Amazon. You click maybe once, twice, or 3 times to buy something. And Amazon, in a way of really got the key of this. They've got the brains of this, in the fact that in a lot of their products they just have that one-click purchase where you slide your thumb across your device. So in that respect, they've got it down, making it very easy for people to buy. I'm also going to say something that it is, in a way, it's important to use professionals, when it comes to your website. So often we want to do stuff in-house, and we want to create our own website. We want to keep that money. That websites sometimes aren't cheap, so we want to do it in-house, and this is great. But if you've got the money to afford a professional, then let them do it. And it's a way you have to kind of think, back in the day, I'm maybe showing my age here, but the Yellow Pages was one thing that you had to be in, and if you weren't there, your business didn't survive. And this is exactly what a website and the internet is about now. You must be there. You have to have a presence. So I would highly suggest using professionals to get real results when it comes to websites. Now, onto social media. One of my favorite things about social media is that it's great. Social media is something that has an instant kind of potential to give you clients, to generate leads, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful, and it's free, right? Well, no, it's not. Either you have to employ somebody to do it, or you're doing it. And if you're doing it, then it's your time. But there are many, many strategies where social media is concerned. to generate you leads and give you that return on investment. Because social media is like a database, and that database could be your LinkedIn database, it could be your YouTube database, in other words, all your subscribers to your YouTube channel, it could be your Facebook database, it could be your Twitter, your Instagram, your Pinterest database, etc., and so on and so forth. You know, every business has these multiple databases as well as your CRM. You know, yes, you still need a CRM for all your customers, but these are like databases. So let's look at the top 21 things, or the top strategies even, that we at Action Coach believe you need to be doing to be great at social media. Number one, okay, pick 2 or 3 platforms that you're going to use. You know, if you're using all 6 of them, then that's great, but you need a vast team in order to be great at all of them. So I would rather you pick 2 or 3 that you're really pushing and become good at planning and know what you're doing of them. So think about where your audience is. You know, who are your audience? What platform do they live on? You know, are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? And target those accordingly. Not necessarily what you're good at, but where your market actually is, and hang out. Number 2, consistency. You have to post consistently. You can't just post one a week and then nothing, and then a month later you post something else. You have to post consistently and plan the number of posts you're going to put out there. You know, plan out the number of posts you're going to do in a day. So for LinkedIn, you may want to do 1 or 2 posts. You know, for YouTube, maybe 5 or 6. Even Facebook, you can post multiple times a day, 5 or 6 again. On Instagram, you can do as many as you want, and as well as obviously with Facebook, you both have stories, so you can post as often as you want. On Twitter, 24/7, and no one would care. Pinterest, and again, probably a number of lower posts, but high quality. So think about your plan. You know, how often am I going to post? Then plan what type of post you're going to do. Maybe that's a testimonial. You know, think how often would you do a testimonial post? Plus, how often will you be doing memes? You know, how often will you do a sales post? How often will you do an interview? You know, how often will you do a webinar like this? You know, how often will you do just a straight up word post? You know, these are the things you want to be planning. You know, you could think about using a software planner like Hootsuite. You know, Facebook have got their own scheduling app. You know, they'll help with planning. You know, and if you get that sorted on a weekly, monthly basis, all you will need to worry about is the interaction with the people. Number 3, images and video. You know, even on Twitter today, you see photos, you see great photos and videos on Instagram. Pinterest is all about pictures, Facebook, pictures and video, YouTube is video, LinkedIn, video is key. You know, so remember that to use it alongside words and pictures. You know, a while ago, you know, we always used to say that pictures, you know, spoke 1,000 words. You know, they were the superhero of social media, but now video is the most important. It gives people an insight into who you are. You guys can see an insight into me today, where I am, what pictures I've got. You know, it's the video aspect, and it's key and it's important. It shows about the person that you are interacting with. You know, go live. Hello, I'm live. Anything could happen. The doorbell could ring, everything. But this is where video is really good. You know, when you go to Facebook to post, and if you put a video up, do it live. You know, if you're going to go to Instagram, go live. Customers will see a quick snapshot into who you are and your life. People get to know you, your personality, and it's all about that know, like, and trust. Test and measure. Now, I've talked about Google Analytics before, but use that again. You know, measure the search response on your posts. Measure your posts. Take a look at what's going on. You know, Facebook have got Facebook Analytics. You know, I like to think that if we're looking at a post that gets a lot of response, we see the similarities in that, then we post more. You know, and guess what? If we're getting a lot of interactions from customers, then you'll get more sales. You know, we look at that post, we see what's similar, we keep modeling on what works rather than what didn't. So therefore it's looking what's working well and enhancing it and doing more of it. Join and build communities. So you need to join communities and be part of communities and groups. And it's all different names from LinkedIn and Facebook, but you should become part of them. Build your own communities, groups that people want to join and would like to be part of them. Keep active in them. You don't have to do brand new posts in each of them, but share posts. Ultimately you can want to put new posts in those. You've got communities, and keep yourself commenting even in the communities. We have our own, as we call, a tribe on Facebook, full of business owners looking to grow their businesses to the next level. We'll pop the details after I've come off live. I'll pop the details in the comment boxes, so that if you want to join those tribes and those groups with us, then you just need to click onto it. But we've created a community of business owners that are all looking to grow their business. We share best practice, we share comments, we share successes, we share challenges. We share and we support each other. Basically advertising, Facebook has changed its algorithm again where advertising is concerned, but you've got Google advertising, you've got Facebook advertising, you've got LinkedIn advertising, and and all this advertising is great, gaining traction because it works, but you need to know what you're doing with it in order for it to work. Learn it and do it again. They all have great videos, on how to do it, how to do advertising. Facebook's brilliant, Google's brilliant. Follow them, love them, and do that stuff. Or engage a professional that knows what they're doing. Have every single one of them as your database, and I've talked about databases right at the very beginning of this, but keep on building that LinkedIn database, keep on building that Facebook database. How do I add to that database? Add more likes, add more followers, add more connections. It's a database. Keep building it. And the more you build it, the better, obviously the better it is. The higher number of people who, follow you, don't pay them though. Grabbing fake followers, it's just crazy. So go and build your database organically. Have things that that ask people to follow you, ask people to connect with you, give them a reason to follow you. Only our Twitter followers get X, Y, and Z. Your sales started by people, you can only reserve on Instagram, you can only do this on LinkedIn, go out and first to the people, this offer will go out first to the people that are our connections, so these are the things you need to look for. One thing that's a bit of a bugbearer for me is that I hate Facebook or where you post something or you write a comment and then nobody comments back on it. No one communicates with you. It's a conversation, remember. It's called social for a reason. Social media, so it's a conversation, So if you reply to somebody or if somebody connects with you and starts that conversation, then remember to reply. If your audience speaks to you, talk back, interact with people, like their comments, say hi, say have a great day, communicate back, especially on LinkedIn. When somebody comments on something on LinkedIn, send a message, give them a phone call. It's not a bad way of doing business. But don't just think of this as social media, not posting stuff for the sake of having content out there. You are being social and interacting with people. You're looking for friends. You're looking for business acquaintances. So make them. Make friends. You're making acquaintances. You're collecting connections. It's about connecting with people. So be social, and that doesn't just mean like doing business on there. There's a big thing about, LinkedIn is all about business, but actually, if you're taking your family to Disneyland, then hey presto, put a post up about it. Give people an insight that you're a real human being as well, not just business. And I want to be clear, it kind of leads on to the next one. I want to be clear that actually you are allowed to sell on these platforms. Maybe every 5th or 6th post, you're allowed to sell. You're allowed to post things on there and make a sales pitch. If you put a photo up on Instagram, selling something on there and making a pitch to people, fantastic. Why wouldn't you? Now, What might be, though, an idea is that a week later you go back and delete that post, so that if you get a new follower and they scroll through, it's not full of sales posts. 2 or 3 sales posts, brilliant. Don't do 100 of them. And I think that that's key. Another key point is that it's not just up to the marketing team to post on social media. It's up to you and your whole team. You are all on the social media team. Everybody on that team needs to be posting and sharing. And if there's something posted on the main page, that everyone on the team can share it then on their Facebook or on their Instagram or on their LinkedIn. So you become a bit of a social media team. That interaction is key. So make sure that all of the team are involved and it's not just the marketing person doing it. And I think one of the most important things where it comes to social media is that you have to be passionate. You have to be passionate about what you're doing, and your personality has to come through on the post to get the most response. For those are the ones with the most passion and most emotion, with something going on in them. When people get it, when people see emotion, when people see that passion, that's why video works so well. There's more to respond to. You can understand people's tones. You can appreciate personality. So don't hide your personality on social media. You find that people who have the most followers online are the people with the most personality. So make sure your personality is out there. Now, this could be controversial, and I know some of my our clients out there will be going, Julie, no! Boost high performers. There's an argument for boosting posts on social media and not boosting posts on social media. But there is a reason behind they have that boost button. And if you're doing it correctly and with the right reasons, targeting the right audience, then potentially it could go viral and be fantastic. But when I say this, and I say this really tongue-in-cheek, get advice from professionals on that, because some people boosting and spending a whole load of money on something that doesn't generate leads for you. Okay, so take advice from that one. Next point, you have to use hashtags. It's crazy in this day and age not to use them, because people find you using hashtags. Some people argue that 10 hashtags is the ideal number to use on any particular post. Less than that is also okay, but much more than that, and you're becoming a bit hashtag crazy, But use the hashtag aspect too, that people can find you from another means, not just from being there. Another one, I love this, it's about being real messages. Now, I do use some automated messages, especially in LinkedIn and connecting with people, but I make it personal, and I think it's really key that when you're looking at using an automated tool, that you can make it your own, that you can make it. It goes back to the personality aspect, that you're making it your own. You're making it your own personality shining through. We don't want another automated response that goes, thanks for connecting. Can we book a call sometime? Get rid of that. Be sociable, be you, See what your competitors are doing. Look up your competitors' social media. See what's working for them, what's doing great. See what's not doing great. What they're posting about, what helps you from looking at their competitor. If you were to look up at, so say you're in the building industry and you hired out diggers. Okay, who is your main competitor? What are they doing? What are they doing differently? And let's see if we can enhance some of that to our own standing. Colour scheme. Stick to a consistent colour scheme throughout your social media. The branding aspect. So know your colour scheme. Is it blues? Is it reds? If it is, then stay blue and red. Is it pinks and purple? Stay with pinks and purple. Don't try to mix it up all the time, with totally different colour schemes. People want to feel the same when they look at your page. They want to see that your pictures on Instagram, that there's a similar kind of vibe to it, and that's through colours, And again, do it through your videos, a similar colour scheme even, a similar background, that sort of thing. And remember that colour does stand out on social media. Next one. I hope you're making notes out there, by the way. The next one is you can use things by Hootsuite scheduling. Facebook has its own business suite, it's spread across, all the different services. So make sure that you're utilizing it. Make sure that you're using it, that there is a consistency of posting. Otherwise, we're only human, we will forget. Sometimes you run out of time to do it. Sometimes, you can always post more when you're in that social scenario, or when you're in, so in other words, if you're there on a Monday and you're scheduling your post for the week, okay, you've got posts going out, but then you go to a networking event, for example, and you're doing a selfie with the whole group, then post that as well. So you can always post more when you're in that social scenario. And when you're in that creating content system, but make sure you have it automated and make sure it does go out on a regular basis and has consistency. Another top tip is share other people's stuff. Be willing to share other people's, and because it's good, it puts good content on your own site. Be willing to do that. You don't have to only do your own, but if it's good content, put it on. People appreciate good content from where they get it. And then my last top tip is stay up to date. There's changes every month with the way that Facebook allows you to put buttons on this, changes every month with the way that Instagram functions. If you've not got a business profile on Instagram, you're losing out. So have one. Follow some of the social media commentators out there and keep up to date with what's going on the social media platforms, because they're teaching it every day. So my questions to you all out there, which social media platforms are you going to use? Which 2 or 3? How often are you going to post? Start thinking about these things, start building it into your daily, weekly, monthly routine. So here we are, there are my generalist strategies for websites and social medias, social media even. I really hope you enjoyed today, and I hope you can join me every day this week for another golden nugget of business education from me, Julie Cameron, a business growth specialist with Action Coach Solihull. Thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.